Cradle Coast NRM works with communities to look after coasts, water and land, and we're been here for the last 5 days to help the community clean up Macquarie Harbour.
It's about actually caring for not only the environment, but teaching our children the right and wrong things to put into the waterways, how to dispose of things properly, recycling.
Strahan is a tourist hotspot. It's actually really treasured by the locals and treasured by tourists from international, from overseas. And we need to maintain that, so we're actually got a good economic outcome as well as an environmental outcome.
When you start doing a work like that, a lot of people come and ask, "Oh, what are you guys doing here?" You know, a lot of people's interesting. I believe it's a very touristic point, you know, and who would like to go for holidays and have a lot of rubbish floating around?
I'm sure that it's going to actually involve much more of the community, and the community are going to want to become involved because they're going to be able to see positive results from it.
All kids love getting dressed up in gumboots and, you know, walking in water, so they lasted about 2.5 hours, which I didn't think they would last. They were very sort of conscious and sort of asked questions as to, why is this can in the water, or, why is this bit of plastic there? So I think teaching kids at a young age about being respectful of the environment is a key message we need to get across.
I'm surprised by the amount of just domestic debris. I didn't expect that many bottles, cans that are obviously around the township, and just general waste that people have dumped. So I think there just needs to be really an awareness campaign.
When you live in special areas, we don't want to be having our wildlife and our seabirds, our shorebirds, getting rope around their necks and rope in their guts. And we are a fishing town. If the children are riding their bikes around the walking path and they see a little piece of rope, pop it in your pocket, and that could be one bird you've saved.
For Strahan Village, it's been great to be part of the community cleanup and really get involved and get out there, gumboots, a bit cold, but actually pick up rubbish and actually find out what's causing a build-up of rubbish along the beautiful foreshore that we have directly behind me.
The area that has been covered includes land-based teams, so they've been doing the township of Strahan, King River, Ocean Beach, and water-based teams, which has been going out with the aquaculture farms, with Tassal, with Petuna and with Hewen, and doing the more remote beaches. Parks and Wildlife have already been going out, and so the strong volunteer component has been Conservation Volunteers Australia and Wildcare Volunteers.
When I was working at Ocean Beach, we took over 2 kilometers of beach, and you become like, oh, which kind of things you're going to collect? Just the biggest ones or the smallest ones? But at the same time, you need to imagine that, how long each one of these rubbish takes to decompose the environment, and which kind of fauna it is impacting, with seabirds, with even mammals.
So finding something like this really shows how important the marine debris cleanup is. This is an absolute wildlife nightmare. It'll catch birds, platypus, fish, anything, and it'll just float around for years and continue to kill. To find this right down the bottom of the harbour in the World Heritage Area was a real shock, but it's so good to get it cleaned up. It'll be 50 metres long, and it's probably been floating around for a fair while. We're trying to cover as much ground as we can. The main focus of this area is into the World Heritage Area and outside the areas that we usually clean. So we've already got allocated shorelines within the harbour that we clean twice a year, but there's large sections that have never been cleaned up at all. So the idea of getting all the involvement and the help from the Conservation Volunteers Australia and Parks and Wildlife and Wildcare is to try and identify areas within the World Heritage Area, in the Gordon River, Kelly Basin, Birches Inlet, where rubbish is ending up, and to try and so that we can focus on getting it cleaned up, finding out where the rubbish has come from and stopping it from happening.
we're documenting what's actually being found here. So every beach area has actually got, we're drilling down to the number of ropes, number of plastic bottles, number of cans, number of aquaculture waste, and number of unusual items as well. So all that will go back to the office and go into a database, and then we'll work with CSIRO to determine strategies to best address the majority of the sources of marine debris.
I believe that's very important what we're doing. It's a pilot for the next years.
The area has never been cleaned up to this extent before. It's a massive exercise. We're finding we're actually probably collecting a lot more ropes and plastic than we ever envisaged. But then again, we've also got a lot of historical debris and just general rubbish, so tyres and wood and unusual bits and pieces.
Some of the rubbish is international rubbish, unfortunately, because of the maritime currents and trade winds. Most of this rubbish is blown to the west coast of Australia. Macquarie Harbour to the Hell's Gate, such a straight instant there, and everything comes blowing and it's hard to get out again.
And we've been cleaning up 80 kilometres of shoreline. Today is day 5. We're getting a bit tired, but we have probably achieved 90% of our target at the moment. And today we're sorting again. We've already taken 35 cubic metres to the landfill and still going.